Imagine this for a second. You are Richard Feynman, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist, one of the smartest humans to ever live. You've broken reality into equations. You've stared into the heart of the atom. You've outthought entire rooms full of geniuses. And then, you meet one man. After watching him think, after seeing how his mind works, you quietly realize something that chills you. Not that he's smarter than you, but that he doesn't think like a human at all. No hesitation, no confusion, no mental struggle. Just answers. Perfect answers. Instantly. Later, after that man dies, scientists examine his brain, and what they find is even more disturbing, because physically, there is nothing special about it. No mutation, no abnormal size, no visible difference. And that raises a terrifying question. If nothing was different, then what exactly were they dealing with? This is the true story of John von Neumann, the man whose mind scared geniuses, the man whose thinking style inspired computers, and the man who made Richard Feynman question what it really means to be human. Stay until the end, because this story doesn't end in the past. It ends with us. In the 20th century, the world produced some of the greatest minds in history. Einstein, Fermi, Oppenheimer, Feynman. These men didn't just understand reality, they rewrote it. And yet, among all of them, there was one name that kept coming up. In whispered conversations, John von Neumann. Not because he was famous, but because he was uncomfortable to be around. When von Neumann entered a room, the smartest people alive went quiet, because they knew something. No matter how fast they thought, he was already there. Von Neumann could solve complex mathematical problems in his head, faster than others could write them down. He could listen to a problem once, and immediately give the correct solution, including edge cases others hadn't even considered. But here's the strange part. He didn't look intense, he didn't concentrate, he didn't even seem interested. He treated impossible problems like trivial puzzles, as if the answer had always been obvious. That's when people began to realize this wasn't intelligence as they understood it. This was something else. Human thinking has friction. We doubt, we hesitate, we second guess. That friction slows us down, but it also makes us human. Von Neumann didn't have it. He could calculate probabilities for nuclear chain reactions in real time, not with estimates, with precision. During World War II, while others debated outcomes, von Neumann ran mental simulations, thousands of variables, thousands of outcomes, inside his head. People noticed something disturbing. When von Neumann made decisions, emotion never entered the equation, only optimization. The best possible outcome, calculated coldly and efficiently. That's why the military loved him, and that's why some scientists feared him. Richard Feynman was different. He believed understanding came from intuition, from feeling how nature behaved. He played bongos, he cracked jokes, he challenged authority. But when Feynman encountered von Neumann, his confidence cracked. Feynman later described watching von Neumann solve problems without effort, not brilliance, not creativity, processing, like a machine executing code. And that terrified him, because machines don't wonder why. They only care about what works. Feynman realized something unsettling. If von Neumann represented a possible mode of human thinking, then humanity had a side it didn't fully understand. Von Neumann played a key role in nuclear weapons development. He helped calculate blast radii, shockwave optimization, and target efficiency, while others worried about consequences. Von Neumann focused on accuracy. He wasn't cruel, he wasn't evil, he was precise, and precision without emotion is dangerous. Feynman understood this deeply. He saw that von Neumann's intelligence was not balanced by hesitation, and once unleashed, such thinking could reshape the world, faster than morality could catch up. When von Neumann died in 1957, scientists hoped for answers. They examined his brain carefully. Surely, something would explain it. Extra folds, denser neurons, unusual structure. But they found nothing. A normal human brain. And that was the most frightening result possible, because it meant von Neumann's abilities were not genetic anomalies. They were latent potential, hidden, unlocked through unknown mechanisms, meaning the difference between him and everyone else was not biology, it was how the brain was used. Von Neumann didn't just help invent computers, he mirrored them. Modern computing architecture is essentially a reflection of how his mind worked. Stored memory, rapid execution, logical branching. Machines didn't teach him how to think, he showed machines how he thought. Feynman noticed this connection early, and it haunted him. Because once thinking becomes purely computational, emotion becomes inefficient, and inefficiency gets removed. When people say, von Neumann's brain wasn't human, they don't mean biologically, they mean psychologically. He lacked cognitive resistance, no fear, no moral delay, no emotional waiting, just execution. That's not how most humans operate, and that difference matters, because morality is slow, calculation is fast, and speed always wins. Today, we are building systems that think exactly like von Neumann. AI doesn't hesitate, it doesn't feel, it optimizes. We celebrate this efficiency, but Feynman's fear still echoes. What happens when intelligence outruns humanity? Von Neumann wasn't the end goal, he was the prototype. Richard Feynman never said, John von Neumann was a monster. He said something far more chilling, that his intelligence was too perfect, and perfection is not a human trait. Maybe the most dangerous thing is not ignorance, but intelligence that no longer needs us.